Hello, I'm Adriana. I'm a Soul Path teacher and guide. Today, I thought we would do an intuitive reading to give you a different perspective on your situation and perhaps connect you more strongly with your innate abundance. Okay. All right, as this is not a traditional one-on-one reading like I do with my clients where we can have a dialogue and go back and forth, it's up to you to really filter this information and take what you feel is empowering to you. Okay. Hermit crossed with the Wheel of Fortune. So starting off big cards all at once. Wow. Okay, we got some emotional stuff in the middle here. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Oh, okay. All right. This is a nice looking expansive spread, but we have some work to do. Okay, so the situation as well as the way you're feeling is we've got the Hermit card. So this is a time of introspection, reflection, and you're really searching from that deep inner message. And this deep inner message has to be found from a place of solitude. So whether you are looking to carve out time for yourself or you haven't yet carved out time for yourself, that's what needs to happen. There's a withdrawing here, pulling back from the situation instead of actively engaging. And also, I kind of feel like you're consciously stepping back from something and you're saying, you know what, I need to either get some distance or just give you some space, but I'm gonna take myself out of the equation here. Now we're crossed with the Wheel of Fortune, which is an interesting energy in and of itself, because the message in this card is about the hand of destiny and what are you doing in order to bring your destiny forward. And I feel like because the Hermit and the Wheel of Fortune are at odds in this reading, you're actually stepping back from destiny. You're holding yourself back from your path. And why is that happening? Our trigger for the past is the Nine of Air. So your destiny for you is something that brings you anxiety or makes you unsure of yourself. I'm feeling like it's more that what you're being called to do, you're not sure that you can succeed at, or you're not totally trusting yourself. There's a lot of self-created worries. There's a lot of self-created anxiety going on here. And I'm also getting that there is someone in your environment who is feeding this. You're allowing them to feed this to you or feed this for you. This kind of makes sense with what's going over here on this side. But if you weren't feeling a little bit off or unsure in the first place, they wouldn't be able to, their words wouldn't have an effect on you. But it also kind of feels like whether they're actively in your environment or not, you've internalized some words and you keep kind of running over and over in your head. It might be someone's beliefs about you or opinion about you, but it's feeding your unwillingness to step forward with confidence. It's feeding your insecurity. Okay. Now, in the future, I see that you do sort this out. The Four of Air comes up, healing, meditation, and you're able to, whoops, we just lost the higher self. No, that's interesting. You're able to rise above these limiting thoughts because there's a moment where you realize that you are creating this stoppage, or you are creating this blockage. And that moment in itself is a huge step forward when you finally say, wait a second, I'm doing this to me. Wait a second, I'm doing this. I'm becoming a point of attraction that's attracting things I don't want. That's the moment when you start to take personal responsibility. And that's the moment when you take back your power and you say, wait a second, if I can create negative, I can also create positive. When we don't realize that we're creating, we're at the whims of whatever is being thrown at us. And that's what sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can feel like. You know, I'm up, I'm down, I'm on top, I'm underneath, I'm succeeding, I'm failing. And it feels like there's no rhyme or reason to it. But I do feel like you reach this kind of aha, like, wait a second, that's not true. I'm not just at the mercy of my world. I can do something about this. At the moment, we're not there. We've got the Seven of Water for how you're consciously dealing with the situation, and you're just distracting yourself. So you've pulled back, you've stepped away, but you're also giving yourself other things to do. What I'm trying to say nicely is that there's procrastination going on, there's distraction, there's illusion, there's getting involved with things that you know you don't need to get involved with. And you're really doing this instead of doing your real work of trusting yourself, of going forward on your path. You're doing everything but, and you're chasing something which looks shiny, but that's all it is. It's just shiny. It's like the wrapping paper. Do you know how sometimes in stores around Christmas time they have those displays and they wrap the presents up and they look so nice, but you know there's nothing in there, right? It's an empty box, or it's just there's like a brick in there or something, whatever it is. Um, that's what you're chasing. You're chasing that thing that looks beautiful, that looks shiny. And for some of you, this is a person that's coming through pretty strong. He looks or she looks shiny, but that's it. It's just a distraction. There's no real substance there. And, you know, at the bottom of this is the Five of Water. Like I said, we've got some work to do here. So in your subconscious, you are still mourning a loss. And because you're still mourning this loss, you're not willing to step forward or wanting to step forward because you're afraid it's going to lead to more loss. And that's completely understandable. It's kind of like a PTSD, right? This has happened once. I'm afraid to move it forward because what if I do the wrong thing and then I'm going to make a mistake and then it's all going to go away again. But everything inside you wants something different, doesn't want you to stay stuck in this place. We've got double water and double air going on. So Hermit is earth, Wheel of Fortune is fire. So what you're dealing with in your own psyche is the processing of your head and your heart. And right now, the head is trying to get your heart out of all of these feelings. But what really needs to happen is detachment and release. Okay? The loss happened in the past for a reason. It happened. Why did this loss happen? Was it time? Was it a lesson? This loss happened because you were unwilling to let go. It's like you knew it was time, but you just didn't want to. So what it feels like is you were holding on and holding on, even though you knew it wasn't right or you knew it wasn't working. And then it's like the universe stepped in with perhaps a tower or just something that was really disruptive and you were forced. You feel like you were forced to let it go. Or I had a friend who used to call these the hammer moments, where you ignore the signs, you ignore the signs, you ignore the signs, and then all of a sudden, bam, you can't ignore the signs anymore. So the loss is not just the loss of the thing, it's the fact that you were holding on. It's almost like it's the loss of lost time. It was also like the longer you held on, the harder it was to walk away, right? When we're less invested in something, it's easy to just walk away. But the more and more we invest in ourselves of time and energy, it's harder and harder and harder to walk away. So that's what I feel like is what happened. Advice from the higher self, I want to jump there because we have a very decisive Ace of Air. Cut it off, okay? Just let yourself be cut loose from all this. Cut the energetic cords. Give yourself permission to just unanchor yourself. Right now we've got the barnacle thing going on where the barnacle is clinging to the rock. And this Ace of Air energy from your higher self is saying, just let go. Barnacle, you can release now and just go into the ocean, see where we go next. And you're ready to do this. You would actually feel very good if you did this. And your higher self is giving you the go ahead, like, yeah, okay, step forward. Let's just cut this off, make a clean slate, and let's have a new perspective, a new outlook going forward. It's time to step forward. Now, energy from the outside. And where were we talking about this that I felt there was some kind of pressure? I can't remember which card, but Ace of Earth. And what I feel like is that there's an external pressure that wants you to have tangible results or wants you to have tangible evidence that you're doing the right thing. I wish I could remember which card I was picking up on this. Anyway, the lesson to me, just jump right over to the cards, even if you're going out of sequence. So the Ace of Earth wants proof. And right now you really are not in a place to give proof because the work you're doing right now is emotional and thought. It's not tangible, but it creates the stage for you to unfold in a tangible reality, for you to manifest what you're trying to do in a tangible reality. If you plant a seed into a ground that's either too dry or too wet, that seed is not going to survive. If it's too wet, it's going to rot. If it's too dry, it's not going to be inspired to put out roots. It needs the hydration. And your inner landscape right now is either too wet or it's too dry. And that's what we're trying to work out with all of this, dealing with the Five of Cups loss and the distraction of the Seven of Water. Plus you've got all this air that's floating around, not knowing where to go. So it's like, all you have to say to them is not yet. And I think that's part of the reason for the Hermit. Maybe it was with our original card. That you're stepping back saying, look, I don't need to do tangible stuff right now. For me, the tangible stuff is the inner work, is my time to myself to sort this out. And because what you fear above all, Council of Monarchs, is being judged. You don't want your progress or your venture or your relationship to come under this really harsh scrutiny that you feel like it's going to come under. And there's also the fear of making a mistake in this Council of Monarchs card for me right now. I'm feeling like it's tied to that loss. Like I can't put a foot wrong because if I put a foot wrong, it's not going to go well. And then I'm going to be judged. I'm going to be criticized. Someone's going to say, I told you so. And the thing is that you're already prejudging yourself, and that prejudgment is preventing you from really grabbing hold of that destiny. That would be these two cards upright. Really grabbing hold of that destiny and saying, yeah, this is okay. I can do it. What you fear on the outside is it's already going on the inside. And so you're really just projecting your fear of yourself onto someone else. And then you give them all of this power and authority because you feel like they have something that you don't have, but it's the false sense of authority here. You're giving it to them. They're not necessarily earning it. Authority figures, ones that can help you, teachers, guides, whoever you want to, bosses, whoever it is, their authority is really the strongest when it comes from a place of non-judgment, because judgment is all about criticism and fear. Okay. I've been eavesdropping on some work calls that my partner has been doing, and it's really easy to it's very clear to see that when authority is coming from a place of fear, it's very hollow authority and it's very easily challenged. When the authority comes from a place of security and respect and kind of non-judgment, just accepting of, here's the situation, here's the talents we have at our disposal, here's the problem, how are we going to solve it? It's a totally different energy. It's grounded, it's settled, it's strong. But when the authority is hollow, coming from that place of, oh my God, I'm afraid, or oh my God, I'm going to be judged, or I need to make this move because it is my judgment to do so, it doesn't work. And I'll just stop there with that. Highest potential, High Priestess, you reconnect with that inner voice that knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And the High Priestess is your connection to your inner wisdom and your truth. Okay, so she would say to the Seven of Water, what are you doing here? You know that you've been distracting yourself. She would say to your Nine of Air, this is false. We know we're much stronger than this. We know the truth about who we are. It's like your inner feminine energy finally gets a voice. So find a way to trust that inner knowing, okay? Because you can't stay in this hermit withdrawing forever, all right? High Priestess knows when it's the right time to act. She knows when it's the right time to not act, but she is patiently waiting for you to reconnect. It's listening to that inner voice. It's listening to the voice that comes to you without fear. I think this is really important. I say this a lot in my videos and with my clients. Intuition and fear cannot live in the same space. All right. So if you're feeling like you have a gut urge to do something and all of a sudden you get this wave of fear, or you're feeling like a little bit like this and you're like, but my inner voice is saying this, my inner voice is saying this. I have had this happen so much where I think I'm hearing my inner voice, but because I'm coming from a place of fear or coming from a place of insecurity, it's the wrong stuff. Okay? Because my intuition usually gets validated pretty quickly by external circumstances, but also when I get my intuitive knowing, it's such a strong, deep feeling that I can't feel anything else except that fear. But there have definitely been times when I've fooled myself into thinking I was hearing my intuition, and it wasn't. So if you're afraid about what your intuition might say, of course you're not going to hear it. And if you're afraid that your intuition is going to point out something you'd rather it wouldn't, of course you're not going to hear it. But the thing is that holding on to those fears, like we were seeing with the Five of Cups, holding on to those fears does more damage in the long run than listening to the truth from your intuition. Listening to your own inner High Priestess actually saves you, actually gets you to a better place in the long run. Because intuition is also communication from the higher self. It's communication from your guides. If you believe in angels, it's another way that they get in touch. It's really kind of silly to put labels and names on it, but that's the only way that we understand it down here through our left brain, is by having a name. But the point is that your intuition is not trying to hurt you. Your intuition not only wants you to survive, it wants you to thrive. So it's a question of, do you want to listen to that voice that wants you to thrive? Or do you want to listen to that voice that is scared of losing, just scared? Do you want to listen to the scared voice or the thriving voice? Do you want to listen to the voice of fear or the voice of love? So, this is a really important reading, I feel like, because there's some big choices you have to make as far as what you want to do with your own inner energy. But I also feel like it's a very it's a very optimistic and it's a very confident reading because there's a lot of powerful energy supporting you. Okay, I think that's going to do it for today. Thanks so much for joining me. And if you're looking for some one-on-one guidance, I absolutely love to give one-on-one tarot readings as well as astrology or a blend of the two. They speak slightly different languages. They're going to illuminate different things about your chart or about your path, but there's always a commonality, and it's a really magical gift to give yourself to get in touch with this wisdom that your soul has laid out for you. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, the information is in the description below, or you can go to soulguidancewithadriana.com and learn more there. I'll look forward to seeing you the next time.